Hello, this is Lewis from Vera Filosofia, and today I'm going to teach you a practice, a technique of sorts that can change your life very, very radically if you carry through with it, that is. So, this technique concerns meditation. And so, I've been practicing meditation on and off for periods of going from 6 months to a year to just a few weeks for the last 16 years, you could say. And I've faced the problem that when I'm sitting down, when I'm on the cushion, and I get fairly good at it, I often wonder how I can carry the practice of meditation to my daily life. And something that is taught to do this is what is called walking meditation, as opposed to sitting meditation. Nevertheless, I haven't found this helpful whatsoever, because when you're practicing walking meditation, you're doing it in a relatively controlled environment, just 10 paces when you're going back and forth. And this isn't very easy to translate to, or to transfer to, when you're going about your day doing all the things you have to do on the bus or driving or what have you. And so one day I stumbled across a way to bring meditation to your everyday life in a very unexpected way. And so let me tell you about that experience really quickly. I was walking from just going out for a walk. I like to walk a lot when it's not too cold outside. And as I was walking, I started having a daydream, one of these fantasies that we all have about what you would say. In this case, it was what I would say, or what I would like to say to my ex if I came across her on the street and stuff. And so I was daydreaming, having these fantasies in my head that we all do. And it suddenly occurred to me that I spent quite a big amount of time invested in these fantasies, in these thoughts, in these imaginary scenarios that we all have concerning if we met the celebrities that we like, if certain scenarios were to play out where you get to say something really badass or really cool, just these imaginary scenarios. And then I asked myself, when has any of these scenarios ever come true? When have all of these mental simulations ever actually helped me to respond to my day-to-day, or any situation, in fact? And upon reflecting and having thought about it, really being like, well, let's think about some of the fantasies I've had, some of these ideas. When has any of them ever come true? And I realized it never has, not once. And I'm very curious if anyone's fantasy, if anyone's daydream has ever come true, that someone said something to you and you were like, oh shit, I've practiced this in my head. I know what to say to sound really, really cool. Because none of them, like absolutely none, not one has ever come true. And so I thought, well, in that case, all of this fantasizing is just mental masturbation, and it's just making me emotionally, it's just stirring me emotionally without any real payoff. It's just a waste of time and energy. And so I thought to myself, well, if these things are really useless, I'm going to try an experiment. And every time I'm going to try to pay attention to my thoughts as I go about my day. And every time that one of these fantasies comes up, one of these mental pictures, I'm going to bring my attention to the present moment. I'm going to try to ground myself in the present, what's going on. And so I did this for a little bit. And after like 4 days of doing this, I became very, very aware of all the thoughts I was having. And first of all, I realized just how many of these things, and not just these fantasies, but how many thoughts you have throughout your day that you don't actually notice. And then doing this longer, I realized that there are certain things, certain thoughts, which I like to call micro thoughts, because they're so small you don't even notice them. Nevertheless, they happen, they do take place, and they affect the way you feel, the way you treat people, the way you do things. But they happen so quickly, or at least they appear to be so quick, that you don't notice them. And they're very quick, so to say, because you're not paying attention, simply because you're not aware of them. And so, having done this practice for quite a long time, I realized, wait, it's like I'm meditating, but all the time. Because depending on the practice of meditation that you're doing, be it a Vipassana, Samatha, Transcendental Meditation, TWIM, or whatever, you will do different things. But they all kind of involve the noticing of the mind moving from one thing to another. And in some cases, the main practice or the main activity consists in noticing what's going on and bringing the attention back to your object of meditation, be it the breath or whatever. And so I realized, wait, what I'm doing is just that all the time. So that every time my mind wanders into some dumb, impossible, unlikely fantasy in my head, I bring my attention back to the present. And I do this in different ways. You can't focus on the present. It's not an object. It's not like, oh, the present. But you can focus your attention on sensations or on perceptions. So you can focus on your field of view. So you can be like, oh, looking at my hands, and you just become aware of your hands. Or if you're doing this while you're going somewhere, you can focus on the feeling of pressure of your feet while you're standing. And so this practice of, in your day-to-day life, becoming aware, like being, how can you say this? Being aware of what you're thinking, of what's going on through your head. And not every time you get distracted, because sometimes you do need to think. Thinking is important for life. But every time you go into these weird scenarios, these fantasies, these ruminations about the past, the present, the future, you bring your attention back and you ground yourself in your present experience. And you try to stay there as long as possible. Now, what I do need to tell you is that this practice is extremely simple. It's very simple and loads of fun. And once you start going with it, it does give a great deal of benefits. Some of them I can't speak about because they're unspeakable. Like the way your awareness changes once you're in the present all the time, and once you become aware of your thoughts and are able to see them, even all of the thoughts that were subconscious, that were kind of there, but your awareness wasn't sharp enough to see them, this changes your approach to life a lot. And then there are some other payoffs that you get from this. But simple as this technique might be, it's also very hard to do because it's easy to forget. And I'll make another video about what is necessary to make permanent changes to your behavior, and this includes your mental behavior, your feelings. Nevertheless, I think this technique is worth trying out, and I'd say that you try it out for at least a week. Put something on your finger or wear something that will remind you to do it. So, a mala, some ring or whatever. And then maybe you can do that. But I do recommend that you do this practice because it's just incredibly, it renders a lot of fruit. It gives a lot of fruit, a lot of benefits. And if you're interested in meditation, enlightenment, and all those things, this will help you progress tremendously. As I said, the difficult bit is just carrying through and keep going with it. So, for example, I did that for a few weeks, and then I just forgot to do it, and then and I just remembered it the other day, and I start doing it again, trying to be present all the time, or at least undistracting myself. And I think this is so great. I'm a lot happier than I would be, and that's, I guess, the main benefit. You're a lot happier, and you don't believe as much of the bullshit that's going on through your head without you noticing. But anyway, this video is long enough, so yeah, I hope you do that, and I hope it's understandable, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.